but I am a boss.
You are a boss. You are.
I am a boss.
You're a boss, babe.
I'm a boss, babe.
Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Chaos to Closing. I'm Danielle.
I'm Trudy.
And today we have a very lovely guest. We have Carina Tom, aka the Ultimate Title Girl.
Yay!
Thanks for coming on, Carina.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for inviting me. I've been watching your show now since you guys began.
The best.
And I love the title, Chaos to Closing.
Yes.
And listen, I've been doing this for about 29 years.
Yeah.
I've been in the title industry. So for me, I've seen a lot of both of those.
A lot of chaos. Yeah. Exactly. We're super excited. Before you came on, Trudy and I were saying how you were one of our most sought after guests. We're super excited to have you.
Oh my goodness.
Can't wait for everyone to get to know you. So with that being said, do you want to give the Chaos Gang a little bit of a background about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm Carina Tom, the Ultimate Title Girl on Instagram. I like to say it's really fun. But I'm also the owner president of New World Connect Title here in New York. And so for me, it's been such a blessing because I've been doing this for about 20 years. I've been in the title insurance industry. I started very, very young. I started about the age of 18.
Oh, wow.
And I like to call it divine intervention into my life because my mom and most of my family's in the medical field. And so at that point, had graduated high school and they were like, hey, so you're going to become a nurse, right? And I'm like, no, I don't want to be a nurse. I don't want to say I was the black sheep, but I was like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Right.
But I always had a very entrepreneurial mindset and I always knew that I would be a business owner when the time came. Right. And so for me, it was just building business. Since the age of 21, I went into the business development side of title insurance. I started with the largest underwriter at the age of 18, which was Chicago Title.
Amazing.
And Tycor at the time, which now I believe they got bought over by Fidelity. But these are the underwriters, the ones that give the insurance. So I got to learn the business in the back end, learning every single department, how a title search is processed and what a title insurance company does. And then at the age of 21, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do business development sales for the title company. And I got given an opportunity by a title insurance company to basically go out there and do sales. And that's it. I didn't stop ever since, I made my way around the industry and now full circle, being an owner now here, I get to add all of my expertise and experiences and know-how and also what a title insurance company should be providing for people in the real estate industry. So it's been a blessing.
Yeah, I think to that point, like Trudy and I always say, it's hard when you see someone who's super successful and you're like, oh, I wish I had that. Yeah. But then to your point, you started at 18. It didn't just come overnight.
Oh, no. It was a lot of hard work.
For sure.
I mean, there was two pivotal moments in my life that it's kind of like a fun story that I do like to share now because, you reflect as time goes on. And, I remember when I was 18, I was working in the mall. I was working at Glamour Shots and going to Nassau Community College. And so, and of course I was, in college because my mom was super strict and, I didn't want to get hit or anything. So, I'm just kidding. But maybe not. So basically I'm working at Glamour Shots in the mall. It's a mall job, going to school and trying to figure what I'm going to do. I don't want to go into nursing. I don't want to go into the medical field, but I'm being pushed in that direction. And I booked this party and Glamour Shots was like, they did your hair and they did your makeup.
So I feel like that's very on brand for you.
Yes. And then you got your pictures taken. And then at the end, once that it was all done, the photo shoot, there were packages that were supposed to be sold. And I was the person that would sell you the packages, right? I'd go over the pictures. And so I would book these parties in the mall. I would have a fishbowl and I'm like, put your card in, put your card in. And, we're going to call you. You have the chance of winning a group party, a group photo shoot here at Glamour Shots. And so obviously everybody was a winner. I would just call it, I'm a winner. How many people do you want to bring for your office? Let's book a party, and everyone gets a free 8x10. So anyway, booked this party. There was this one lady that walked in part of one of the parties that I booked and it ran over. It was probably like a big group. It was probably like 8 people. And now it's like 9:00 at night. She's like, so you have to stay here and clean up afterwards. And we just got along very well. And I was like, I have to, basically that's part of the job. I have to stay here. And she was like, well, they're hiring in my company. It's an entry level position, but it's a little more corporate. And I'm like, anything to get out of this role, you know? So then that's how I literally stumbled upon working for the underwriter.
Oh, wow.
And she literally said that I was her cousin. She got me in.
That's amazing.
And so now I'm their entry level position, you know. I think I was a receptionist. I was like, Chicago title and type and I'm answering the phones. And then they gave me the opportunity to go in the back and learn more and more about the business. Then I transitioned to another company. Now I'm like a production manager there, working in the office. And there used to be another woman. Now I'm probably like 20 years old. There was another woman that would walk in and she was gorgeous. Like, I mean, she had her hair done and she would wear these long fur coats and she'd walk in the middle of the day, like 1:00. And I'm like, Laura, what do you do? And she's like, well, I do sales, darling. And I'm like, oh, I want to be like you when I grow up. And then she's like, you know, with your charm and your charisma, you should ask for the opportunity to do sales. And I did. I marched right into the owner's office, who happened to be a very, stern man. And he ran his business like a well-oiled machine and tight ship. And so then I said, hey, you know, I would love the opportunity to do sales. And he says, absolutely not. There's no, you're too much of an asset in the office. And at that point, I went back to my desk and I was probably sulking for a minute. And I was like, you know what? I went out there and I found another company that would give me the opportunity, and I came back into the office and I said, you know what, I'm giving my 2 weeks notice.
Yeah, good for you.
And I took a leap of faith. I went into sales, and listen, sales is not for everyone. Yeah. You have to have a very thick skin, and no matter what type of sales you're doing, right? And there was a lot of no's. There was a lot of at the door saying no solicitors. And I was like, am I a solicitor?
Yeah, right.
And, so I went through a lot of no's, but then there were a lot of yeses, and I stuck with it. And I was in the business when there was, a time where there came this big wave, kind of like what just happened in the 2020, the small boom that we had, but we had a huge refi boom for many, many years. In the 2000s, early 2000s. And so I rode that wave and, I went through it, and then the market crashed. So I went through the market crash also, lost a lot of my accounts overnight. And, some of them got shut down, got in trouble possibly. But, I had to reinvent myself, and I went back into it, and I, rebuilt myself up again. And I think that that's really the true measure of, whether you have what it takes or not, the ability to, go down and then just go back up again. Or, I always say, as long as I have my wits about me and I'm still able to, walk and talk and, thank God I'm alive, then I know that at any moment, listen, it goes down. I'm not afraid. I know what I bring to the table.
For sure.
And so I'm not afraid of rebuilding myself. And that's
a great mindset.
Yeah, I think that's super important as an entrepreneur, like to be able to pivot when things change. So many things are out of your control. So you need to be able to just like go with the flow and adjust accordingly.
Absolutely. And that's why when, we went through this period of time where there was so much business, like influx of business, it was going crazy, right? 2020s. And then we went through like a little dry spell, right? Yeah. And so for me, when you're seasoned and you've gone through it, you prepare for that, because this business is very cyclical. It is up and down. And when it's good, you got to ride that wave. But you also have to learn how to live within your means. Yeah. And also, plan accordingly for a rainy day, like I like to say. I guess I'm very old school. But
no, I love that.
It's true. Isn't it crazy? Sorry. Isn't it crazy how like everything that you're living right now is all because of where you were at one point? Like we always say, like everything happens for a reason. Like you probably might not have gotten into title if you weren't working at Glamorous Shots and working that one specific night and called that lady. Like it's crazy how everything's always connected.
You know what? Because opportunity, it sometimes they say it comes a knocking, but sometimes it whispers and it gives you like a little hint. And you just have to be that person that is willing to take the leap of faith. That's willing to take the challenge. But also we can't expect life to be, just handed to us, right? We have to put in the work. And, I want to form a bridge between the old school and the new school, right? And so now in this world of, I feel like the younger generation, like social medias and everything that's going on, sometimes a lot of it, you don't want to get so caught up in the titles, right? In like, I'm this, I'm that, you're on social media. You also want to have the foundation. You want to have the backing. Right. You want to have the business to back up that title, right? You don't want to just be a title. So
I love that.
So Carina, can you kind of walk us through the steps that led you to start your own title company?
Yes. Oh, well, that's actually a very great, that's a big story of mine.
Well, we're ready.
So I'm going to give you like, I guess like the PG version of that. The short version. So basically, I was in the business for a long time with my last company for many, many years, very loyal to the company. I did a lot of business. I should have been a business owner years and years before that. I mean, I myself now have come to a place in my 40s that, sometimes, as you mature, you start being able to, at least for me, being able to say, no, I did that and I'm proud of myself. Because sometimes, or maybe the way I was brought up very, to be very humble. And so I now am able to reflect and I'm like, wow, that's insane, everything you did. But I wasn't so focused on sharing it to the world. It was just about really doing the service, really getting the job done and really getting the business in. And as it grew really big. And so it was growing and time was happening and I'm in this company and last quarter of last year, things started changing within the company and I just felt like it was time for me to make the change and an opportunity arose with my partner because I have a partner in my company that I'm with now, that I own now. I have a partner and he came to me and he's like, you need to be an owner and I want to be partners with you and we could do this. We can really get this company off the ground, but I need you to do this with me. And I jumped on board January. I became the owner, president, New World Connect title here. But with that came the old school way of me being it's great to have the title, right? I'm an owner, but I want that to be more than that. I want it to be the title company that I've always wanted a really good title company to be, and that's excellent service. Communication is everything with the clients. I want to make sure that everyone's happy when they get to the closing table. I want to be able to troubleshoot with the best of the best within my company as far as clearance goes. And then just being supportive of everyone in the industry, supporting them, supporting you girls, Chaos to Closing, being here, just being a resource, also, it's more than just the business. We're in a relationship building business.
Totally.
People are going to work with who they like and with 100%. Who they trust. And you're also only as good as your last closing. So remember, the world is round, right? So I also believe in the world is round. So what you do to others is going to come back
tenfold.
To you.
I agree.
Always. So I don't like burning bridges. I always do right by people. My word is everything. My name is everything, more than the business, more than the money. That to me has so much more value. So I
agree.
Here in this company, I'm able to implement all those ideas and the team is amazing. It's a team thing now, which makes me so happy to have a team and people that I'm working with, have that same mentality.
That's amazing.
Love it. So Carina, can you explain the role of title when it comes to a real estate transaction and why it's so important?
Oh my goodness. I mean, it could literally make or break your deal for sure. I mean, all day long, it's always title's fault. The role of title is a very important part of the real estate transaction, primarily because we're pulling up the history of the house. We're pulling up the legality, the rights to the house. So once, a buyer goes into contract and we are an attorney state, an attorney then will contact our title insurance company. But you as agents now are also in the forefront and you're working with these buyers. So you're able to be wise and have relationships with title insurance companies. It's very important for you as agents to understand what title is.
Yes.
So title primarily what it's doing is, number one, it's protecting their legal rights to the property. So when a buyer goes and buys a house from a seller, right? There's a seller. That seller, number one, we want to make sure that they're the rightful owner of that house to be selling that property in the first place, right? You don't want to be buying a property for someone that doesn't really own it. So the title company, what they're doing is at the beginning is they're producing a title search. They're taking that property address off the contract. They're taking the seller's, owner's names. They're going ahead and taking the buyer's names as well, doing a little research on the buyers. But the main focus is the owner and the property. So we're going to what we call the county clerk's office. Every county has a county clerk's office and everything is registered there that's against the property. So each property has its own identifying numbers, which we call section, block, and lots. And so that's what makes it that particular property, right? And so against that property, there should be a last deed of record recorded. Any mortgages are recorded there, any judgments, liens, bankruptcies. We're also going to the building departments. We're finding out all of the information that is filed there. For example, C of O searches. So anytime you're going to do an extension, a pool, a bathroom, whatever type of renovations in your house, you go ahead and you file what we call permits at the building department as an owner, if you do it the right way. And a lot of times we don't. But if you do, you file a permit, and then once the job is completed, the inspector comes down, and then he gives what is called a certificate of completion. And that would be a C of O search that we produce. So we have great vendors. We have examiners, vendors that we work with, and they help us produce these searches. And then once it's all put together in a search, we go ahead and we email it to all the parties, right? We send it out to the buyer's attorney, the seller's attorney, the bank attorney. We are also doing our own investigation as well. If there's any open mortgages, we want to find out why they're open. If there's any judgments, we want to know what's going on with them. We're going to also want to know if, for example, there's a discrepancy with the deed, why is there an extra owner there that's not listed on the contract, or maybe, somebody died. So we're going to have to investigate all these things. So that's what we call clearance. I like to say it's kind of like underwriting at a bank, but we call it clearance. And then we're working together with all the attorneys. If there's a lender involved, we're working with them, the bank attorney, the buyer's attorney, the seller's attorney. And getting to the place where we've gone ahead and we've done our due diligence, and anything open, loose ends, we've gone ahead and made sure that they're all taken care of, and we have the proofs. And, if there's payoffs that need to be brought to the closing, the seller's side is going to be bringing them. And then we get to the point where now we're ready to close. And also surveys are ordered. I missed that part, but that's also part of the search. And so we get to the closing table. The day of the closing is very important because we send a notary, which we call a title closer, to the closing that day. And that day, the notary title closer is going to make sure that the rightful people are at that closing, that it's the right buyers, that it's the sellers. So note to everyone, IDs, valid IDs are very important. It's the number one rule. Show up with an ID if you're a buyer or seller. Because if you don't, then we can't close. We have to make sure that it's not an expired ID and it's valid. And so that happens. And then she's going to go over all the documentation. She's going to look over the deed, make sure that the deed is properly executed, signed, transfer docs are signed, mortgages. If we have to pick up any original mortgages, the title closer will go ahead and take that documentation, everything that needs to be paid on the title bill, all the checks are correct. And then at that point now it's the very end and it's a celebration, right?
So you got the CTC.
Close, C2C,
everything's all good.
And listen, I've seen some chaos at closing.
So have we.
I prefer the smooth ones, but
same.
we're able to deliberate through the chaotic ones too. At the end of the day, I always look for the solution.
Absolutely.
And I always say, don't worry, we're going to get to close. I like to throw a lot of positive energy on the closing. I believe in that too. Sometimes when you're working with a team, right, and maybe the buyer came with their own attorney or the seller came with their own attorney, and this attorney was probably like a litigator or a different type of law. And then you see how like the deal is like kind of rocky as it's going on, and unnecessary tension is being poured into the whole deal when it's unnecessary.
It is. I agree.
This should be a happy experience
for everyone.
Bittersweet for sellers at times, but for a buyer, it's
exciting. It's
exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. So you want to have a team that's going to ease that tension and it's going to be all over any issues that may pop up and look more solution-based. So I'm very solution-based. And so at the closing, at the very end, we give our owner's policy. And at that point, the new homeowner, the buyer, that is their title insurance. Right. And so that title insurance is going to protect them for the whole duration that they own that property. As long as they're on the deed to that property, that title insurance policy covers them. And there's also a one-time premium that they pay the day of the closing. So that's the beauty of title insurance. But what they're doing is, number one, in that title insurance policy, they're getting their legal rights to the property protected, and also all the boundary lines of the property protected as well, so that nobody could come and build a fence 10 feet onto the property and, say, oh, what do you mean? I could put my fence on your property? No, so all these things are disputes that may happen between neighbors, but title insurance is covering you and protecting you. And so it's very important to work with a reputable title insurance company, not a fly-by-night. We happen to have the backing of the largest underwriters, and it's really nice to know that I have that ability to have that backing for my title.
A strong team behind you.
100%.
And I feel like that's great for buyers because it gives them peace of mind. Like, okay, God forbid, an instance, like you said, and a crazy neighbor wants to build something, whatever, they're protected.
Or an old inheritant might pop up and say, you know what, I was her sister and my two sisters just sold the property and I had rights to it and now it's a dispute. So the title insurance policy will cover you for that, any court appearances, legal representation and so on and so forth.
Does a lot.
Yeah,
good to know.
It's actually really important.
It is. It's very important. I just feel like, a lot of people don't know, especially, as it's our jobs to kind of walk our clients through everything. Right. A lot of the times people don't know, a lot of people don't understand what their mortgage is. They don't understand what title is. They don't even know how to buy a house. So that's why, it's important that we all here to help.
It's important for a consumer to be informed. I think nowadays more than ever, consumers are more informed. They're doing their research. So title is coming out of the back. It was always in the back end, it was behind the scenes. But now title insurance is being more understood by the public. And you agents are giving that information while you're working with your buyers. It's nice to have a direct relationship with a title insurance company, I believe, because as an agent, you are basically called upon to guide the whole deal and the buyer is trusting in you. And then when you're able to go directly to each moving part of your deal, you're able to go, if there's, let's say, a delay on municipals, you can call me directly and say, hey, what's going on with the municipals? They say that's holding it up. If there's a problem with clearance, I can find out what's going on. So then you can give that information to your buyers and then you look like the hero because wow, my agent was so knowledgeable. She really gave me a lot of updates and she was communicating and that builds your business for the future.
For sure.
Yeah, so it's all about reputation.
Yes. So as a female entrepreneur in what we know is typically a male-dominated industry, did you have any obstacles that you faced to get to the point where you are?
Oh,
you can explain.
Absolutely. I mean, I talk about this a lot, even though a lot of times we don't want to focus on it. We want to say that doesn't matter. But it is something that is going on and it's something to overcome. It's not a setback at all.
Totally.
But when I first started in the industry, in my title insurance world, it really was a male-dominated industry. A lot of attorneys were males and being a female and, being young and beautiful like the ladies, you have to prove yourself a little extra because you can't be the whole package. You can't be beautiful and even a mother and, run a household and be able to conduct business. There's a way that they're trying to almost like, knock you down a little bit.
They want to like put you in one category. Yeah. They like men like sometimes can't believe that like we could do it all. Yeah,
exactly. Sorry. God made us natural multitaskers for a reason.
Exactly.
So we can definitely do it all. But at the same time, overcoming that was just, being as knowledgeable as possible of what I'm doing. So, the fact that I worked behind the scenes first, when I would walk into the offices and I was given an opportunity to sit and have a meeting and present what it is that, my title company that I'm working for, and be able to talk about title insurance, I had to like literally impress them and like go out of my way, whereas I feel like if I was a male when I was younger, I did think like it would have been a little bit easier.
Absolutely.
It was a boys club, I'm not coming and talking about Monday Night Football. And like, when we're having lunch, it might be a little uncomfortable, Right.
But I feel like in any, it's like even the typical, like if a girl knows about sports, they're like, oh, like you only like the team because like your boyfriend or like your dad, like people can't believe that girls can literally have the same interests, do things that guys can do. It's like,
absolutely.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. And I went through a lot of obstacles that even now that is a more woke society, right? And there's like movements. I definitely encountered a lot of those scenarios. At the time it wasn't really spoken about, but I always persevered. I'm somebody that they got to kill me to.
I was going to say.
I'm never going to stop. As long as I'm alive, I have a drive to me that is unstoppable.
That's great.
That's amazing. That's how you have to be. And that's why you are where you are.
Yeah.
I always find a way. I always find a way. I don't let that be a reason to not do something or to deter me. No, I just, put it aside and I find a way and a way, around everything. And, thank God I just always pushed but keeping my word, believe it or not, I think has been the most important thing for me to have all the business that I've gotten. Yeah. And it's been such a blessing in my life, this business in so many ways to my family, the ability to raise a son, through the business was the biggest blessing I ever had. And, but it comes to a place where as a woman now, entrepreneur, and as a business owner, it's a culmination of everything that I built for all these years. And for me, it's almost like a gift that I'm giving to my mother.
Oh, I love that.
That's so sweet.
I'm a daughter of immigrant parents to this country. My mom's from El Salvador. My dad's from Guatemala.
Wow.
I am the American dream.
I love it.
That's amazing.
I am.
You should be so proud of yourself.
I am beyond proud.
And I'm sure your parents are as well.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. They're very proud, especially for my mother. She, was always that rock, always that woman that said, no, don't stay behind. You got to learn this. You got to learn. When I rebuilt my business, she's like, you got to learn how to, after the mortgage crisis and now she's like, you have to add one more tool. You have to also be a title closer. And I learned to be a title closer while I was rebuilding the business. And it was all because of my mom. She was always like, who you are, you're meant to lead so many people. She would just put so much wisdom and so much uplifting into me that now that I'm here, she's my why, and I'm doing it.
That's beautiful.
I love that. So inspirational.
I love it. Mom.
Carina, how do you foster a strong company culture in your title business, and what values are most important to you as a leader?
So, company culture was one of the reasons why I even formed the partnership with my partner, Rudy Hernandez. I was just taken aback by the culture that he had already done in Florida and other states. And so for me, that is so important. The fact that we come together collectively and make everyone feel that they're important, they're of value. Everyone has their own way of, building business as well, which I'm starting to see. And it's so beautiful to me. And also always being a unit, we're a family, we're here for each other. And showing even the production team that they matter, that it's so important what they're doing behind the scenes. It's a team thing.
It is.
Totally.
So that culture is very important. There's awards that are given through New World Title. I happened to even go to President's Circle. This was my first year.
Exciting.
Yeah, it was so beautiful to see the culture that they have in Florida. And so we're going ahead and adopting that here in New York. So there's going to be a President's Circle coming next year.
Amazing.
And so I'm really looking forward to the rising star that's going to be there, that's on the team. So yeah, culture is everything. And as it unravels, that's really what we're focused on. And then the next question was,
what was it? What values are most important to you as a leader?
As a leader, I want to give everything that I've encountered in my journey. I want to be able to pour into every single person on the team, whatever I have encountered, whatever I feel that have helped me grow, different ways to grow business, all of that wisdom I'm giving in. But at the same time, I also, as a leader, I want to be a leader that literally listens to the people and what the people that are on my team, our whole company, everybody has a say, and, it's a collective decision. I'm not looking to be this, I was never so, being an owner to me, it was just the culmination of everything that I built. And I'm very excited and I'm very grateful to my partner for him seeing that in me and saying, why not? You should be like, get out of your comfort zone. You could do this. And I'm like, you're doing it with me, so I could do it. But I'm not so, the type of person like I'm here and you're here. No, I want us all to be a team.
I love that.
I'm more about
that's what makes a successful leader.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah, and uplifting others.
Yeah,
that's my number one thing, is seeing others that are part of my company achieve huge successes. Like if I could say, I got to the point that I was closing 200 titles a month, I want to see them surpass that and faster. And however it is that, now in our newer times, right, newer generations, things are moving so much more rapidly. It's nice to see how they're doing it too. And they're teaching me, actually.
That's amazing.
So. You're probably a great boss to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Team. It's a team, I'm not a boss. I'm a team.
I love it. So what is the most rewarding part of being both a business owner and working in title?
The most rewarding?
Yes. Oh, would you say it's just like helping everyone, or I know we kind of touched on it. It's
really helping everyone. I'm here to serve.
Yeah.
I know how to work with all different types of personalities. It's nice to see when someone is, upset or disgruntled and, or sometimes people tell me, oh, this person's really difficult to work with. Yeah. And so then I come and I see how they are, and being able to work with all different types of personalities and seeing them change sometimes and let their guard down. It's really rewarding to me, because listen, I'm a believer in harmony, right? And everyone getting along and, figuring out what their needs are, what is it that's upsetting them. Yeah. That's very important to me. So that's rewarding. And then seeing families happy at the closing table, like that is the most rewarding. It was a struggle at times. Now I pull away from obviously doing title closings because I'm here running a company. But I found it so rewarding when I was a title closer, just seeing everyone happy at the very end.
It's an exciting day.
Yeah, like all your hard work is paid off. This is why you do it.
Yes. Yeah. And seeing the families now go into a new home or seeing the sellers telling their stories of raising their children in the home. And it's bittersweet, but knowing that they're giving that home to a new family, so rewarding. Yeah. It's so rewarding. Just helping others. I've always loved to serve. I love to help. I've done missions trips in Guatemala,
I love that.
Which was my number one thing since I was a little girl, was that I wanted to be a missionary.
Oh, wow.
And then life happened and I went into the title insurance business. But, it's funny because, God sends me messages in different ways, and it's like, well, you are doing missions work.
You are now
in the real estate industry by helping others. So I'm still a missionary like I wanted to be. 100%. And so, being able to have a family when you're an entrepreneur, obviously you're able to take off if you need to. I've gone through ups and downs in my personal life, and those times I realized, well, thank God I have the business that I have, because I was able to pull away and tend to my family and my personal life. But my business was still coming in, and mainly because I did right by a lot of people, and I'll continue to do that. So
I think this industry and life in general needs like more people like you. That's why we always say we've witnessed a lot of, people who don't do right. All they see is the dollar sign. They just want the check. And I feel like it goes so much further when you actually care about the person.
Oh, absolutely. I never paid attention to the dollar sign, even though the dollar sign was so rewarding.
Yeah, 100%.
I got to really, like I said, have a very nice family life with it and provide. But aside from that, I never really focused on the dollar sign. It was more about making my lenders happy, attorneys happy, realtors happy, and then the people at the closing table happy. Yeah. And that to me was like always like just looking for the solution, looking to see how I could help, looking how I could get the deal done. And that's my focus every day. Yeah. And then the money will come.
Yeah,
the money will come.
Exactly. We're big believers in that too. Like we always say, everything comes, like we said, full circle. Like
absolutely,
you can't be doing fugazi stuff to people because it will come back and bite you in the butt.
People will see right through you though. If you're not a genuine person and if you're just looking at this as just a business, then people are going to see right through it.
100%.
You could tell when someone's a fraud.
Your heart isn't in it.
Exactly.
And if you're an entrepreneur, your heart better be in whatever you're doing. Yeah. If not, then just go get a 9-to-5 job and
make your money
get a check at the end of the week, and that's it. But your heart's got to be in it.
Yep. Like we say, keep it real or keep it moving.
Exactly.
Okay, so this might be a little bit of a loaded question, but in 5 to 10 years, where do you see yourself in your business?
Oh my goodness.
I know. Everyone's like, oh.
It is a loaded question, but I have some very, very big goals. I hit the ground running, my partner and I and the team. We just want to be number one here in New York State, and we're doing it. We're causing waves. We're very innovative. The partnership with New World Title, New World Connect Title, Rudy and I, and the whole team collectively, we're very agent friendly. So we're offering a lot to the agents, a lot of support, a lot of resources, a lot of really cool tools that I can share off the camera.
Yeah.
Or if you're with us at New World. But, just being innovators in the industry. So 5 to 10 years, I see this to be a booming company. And so
it will be.
We'll be here for the long haul.
We're going to watch this in like 5 to 10 years and be like, we're going to have you back on.
Yes,
absolutely.
And just
God
see
willing.
us all thriving. Yes,
God
exactly.
willing. Absolutely.
So this is kind of a question we love to ask all of our guests, but what would be some advice you would give little Carina?
Oh my God. I think I was always this person.
Yeah.
I was always this confident woman. But that, even though I was getting a lot of business, in my younger years and the money, and it was great money, I felt like there were times where I almost didn't believe that in myself, that I deserve that amount of business. It's a very strange thing, and I've done a lot of self-work, and the journey has led me to this place where I finally say, no, you deserve this.
Absolutely.
And this is a blessing from God. Yeah. And this is something that God always wanted for you to step into the light and become a leader, because that's what you were destined to do. And 100%. I'm owning it now.
Oh, as you should. That. I love that. That was beautiful. I feel like that's really encouraging for us to hear too, because it's very easy. I feel like in this industry, you are hit with a lot of no's, and it's hard sometimes to feel like, okay, is this really my path? Is this what I'm meant to do? But like, I fully believe if it's in your heart and you work hard and you want something, like, you just got to keep pushing.
And it's crazy because sometimes I call us like seed spreaders, right? We're out there spreading these seeds and cultivating and, networking. I'm a networking queen. I'm known to be like the woman at every single event.
She is.
I might have some clones. But, I'm spreading those seeds and just being a light. And then eventually somebody steps up and like, oh my God, I've known you for 5 years and I never did business, but I would love to do business with you now. And I always say it's in God's perfect timing.
100%.
And you know what? That's what I always tell everyone. If you're really going to do this, you're going to be an entrepreneur, stick with it. Yeah. Don't give up. Don't bounce around. Also, stick with one thing, especially in the beginning. Obviously, as it grows and you have like so much success, then you can do investments. You can do,
of course.
There's other avenues. You know, I'm an investor. Right. I own multiple properties.
Right.
You know, these are amazing things that I've been able to create. But title for me was always title. I wasn't like, you know, I'm title, I'm mortgages, I'm real estate, I'm this, I'm that. And, you know, it's too much. It's too much. Focus on one thing, succeed at that. And then, if you want to branch out, you can do that.
Right.
You can do that. But that's just the way that I think. Maybe there's others having success with multiple branches at the beginning.
Right.
And if they are, my hat's off to you. My brain's not wired that way.
Same.
And I had success doing it this way. So that's the way that I could tell you guys how to do it.
Yeah, amazing.
I love that. So Carina, for anyone who wants to work with you, get to know you, let them know how they can get in contact with you.
Well, I mean, first off, I'm the ultimate title girl on Instagram. And that name has a lot of weight to it because I really know what I'm doing and my team really knows what they're doing. And so you could reach me at theultimatetitlegirl.com. You can also go on my website, newworldtitle.com. And then you can also reach me by cell phone number and I can share my cell phone.
Yes, you can share. Yep.
That's a little strange, but I'll do it. 516-852-0868.
Amazing.
Alrighty, Carina, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yes,
I love you, ladies.
We love you.
5 years, I want to see you guys next to Barbara.
We'll be thriving.
You'll be next to Barbara Corcoran, okay? Because I would say if Barbara Corcoran would have walked into Glamour Shots, I would have been the biggest in real estate.
Sure. We're coming for you, Barbara.
We are. From Carina's mouth to God's ears.
Yes. I love it.
Thank you so much for coming on. It really was such a pleasure. You have been like one of our, we have been wanting you on our podcast the past 2 seasons, so we're super duper happy. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And that is a wrap on episode 3.
We will see you guys next week. Bye.